If true, this changes everything about the New York Knicks as we have a huge update in regards to multiple players and Leon Rose's plans for the rest of this off season, as the Knicks are still very much in play to land Giannis Antetokounmpo in a trade in this off season, and we're going to break all that down and discuss what is happening and why the Knicks believe it's very possible that they're going to be getting Giannis. What's up, guys? Welcome back to Knicks Digest. It's Chris here. We're going to jump right into things as always. Guys, if you're part of that 65% that's not subscribed to Knicks Digest, make sure to subscribe. We got daily videos like this. We're having a bunch of fun on this channel. You do not want to miss out on every single Knicks update that we got every day. Guys, hope you're enjoying the stuff. Let's jump into the video. Also, if you want to become a channel member, you can do that as well. But Leon Rose has been deviously cooking behind everyone's backs, and we are now learning the truth on this situation. Now, the Knicks, it's not a secret that they've been interested in Giannis. In fact, most teams who, are in the NBA, and by most, I mean every team, would be interested in landing Giannis Antetokounmpo onto their team. Now, not every team has the situation to go get Giannis. Most teams, in fact, don't. So it narrows it down a ton, especially considering that Giannis has been revealed multiple times to love New York City and really be enticed by the idea of playing in New York, specifically in MSG. He does own a bunch of businesses in New York. He's been connected to the Nets as well, considering they're in New York and they do have the draft assets to pull it off. So all that being said, Giannis is still at the real forefront of a bunch of trade rumors. He's said constantly that there's a lot of people within his camp, or he said recently that there's a lot of people in his camp who do want him to go to the Knicks, and that as of right now, he loves playing for the Bucks, but he's been very non-committal on if he's going to stay with Milwaukee or not. Right now, the Milwaukee Bucks do not really look like a title contender. They look like a team that could get to the NBA Finals if Giannis just goes ballistic and can carry them, considering the East is obviously weaker. The Pacers are not really going to be in play next season because of Tyrese Halliburton being out and obviously losing Miles Turner to the Bucks. And also the Boston Celtics are basically taking a year off for Jason Tatum, also tearing his Achilles. So that leaves teams like the Knicks and the Cavs and the Pistons to really pick up the pieces. And also the Orlando Magic are a threat. Teams like that are at the top with the Milwaukee Bucks as well. But it's really the Knicks and the Cavs are viewed to be in that top upper echelon. And the Knicks, they're always looking for trades. Leon Rose is always looking to make a move, and now we have a huge update because when we look at this Knicks team, there's still moves that have to be made, and one of the big ones is Mikal Bridges and being extended to a longer contract. Mikal Bridges is eligible for a 4-year, $156 million contract extension, but he's not signed it yet, and some have wondered why he hasn't signed it. Is it on his side? Is it on the Knicks side? Is Mikal no longer willing to take a pay cut he was rumored to be fine with taking when he got traded to the Knicks? There's a bunch of questions surrounding it, and Ian Begley just gave us the answers by saying one of the biggest reasons Mikal Bridges has not been extended yet is because once you extend him, he cannot be traded for 6 months. Until the Giannis thing is fully settled, I don't think it's fully settled, and I don't think it's fully settled yet. That's when Mikal Bridges would be sort of up for an extension. And Begley also mentioned that I think that's why you haven't seen Bridges extended yet. When he does extend, it would tell you Giannis is put to bed, is off the table in a sense. That's one factor at play here. In terms of timing the extension, once it happens, if it happens, should tell you something about what's going on in Milwaukee. Now, Giannis has sort of held up the NBA to a little bit of a degree here because there's teams who have the assets and who are interested in Giannis who are not going to make any major team-altering decisions because they want to be in play for Giannis. The Knicks, being one of those teams, still are in play for Giannis, and if they extend Mikal Bridges, you can't trade him for 6 months, so that throws a wrench in your Giannis plans. I really don't see Giannis getting traded in season. It doesn't make sense to me whatsoever. The Bucks don't own their own draft picks for a while, so if they're going to trade him, they're going to do it when there's more trade flexibility, which is in the offseason. So we would see this happen around now, or even just wait another year and see it around till June. But obviously with Mikal Bridges, in regards to him, if by what Begley means being put to bed, he means for this year. I really do think that what's going to happen is Giannis is likely going to find his way onto the Milwaukee Bucks for another season at this point, and then demand a trade once they get eliminated again fairly early on in the playoffs, and then he'll get traded sometime around June of next year. That's my guess on the situation. However, the fact is Giannis has stayed very non-committal, and the Bucks seemingly have no idea if Giannis wants to come back or not and still play on the team, or if he wants to migrate somewhere else, if he feels like he's done all he could do with the Bucks. And it does lead a lot of questions to be answered. Now, Mikal Bridges, he would be part of this Giannis trade for the Knicks. You look at Bridges and what he's been up to. I mean, he's on a contract that expires after this season, and from there is when you would sign the 4-year, $156 million extension, or he could wait a year and sign for even more money in a re-signing deal with the Knicks as well if he feels like doing that. Now, on top of that, Bridges last year in the playoffs for the Knicks averaged 15.6 points per game, 4.5 rebounds, 3 assists, and played some phenomenal defense as well. He got a block per game. He got nearly 2 steals per game. He was back to the elite defender that we knew Mikal Bridges could be, but he's not Giannis Antetokounmpo, and basically no one is. Giannis put up 33 points and 15 rebounds in those 5 games that he played with 6.5 assists as well. Giannis was great. Obviously, the Bucks were not, so he was pretty much alone out there doing whatever it took to try to just carry a really not very good Bucks team that had very little perimeter defense and just not a whole lot going for them. So you look at the Bucks here, it feels like there's no way out, and they're going to end up having to trade Giannis at some point. I think it's more a matter of when are they going to trade Giannis, not if. And so when it comes down to it, the Knicks have to be prepared, and it's why I would expect a trade that looks something along the lines of this, where the Knicks would be receiving Giannis and AJ Green in exchange for Mikal Bridges, Josh Hart, Mitchell Robinson, and all the draft picks they can give to land Giannis onto their team and get him into the Mecca. Now, there's some things that we consider with this trade. Obviously, the bench gets a little bit weaker and the rim protection gets a little bit weaker as we do lose Mitchell Robinson, but getting Giannis is worth it. And then you look at Josh Hart, that'd be a tough loss because everything that Josh Hart does for this team, you can't really replace Josh Hart unless you have Bruce Brown, who's obviously signed. And the Knicks would probably try to sign Bruce Brown away from Denver the following year as well, just because the Knicks have had long interest in Bruce Brown. And then you also lose Mikal Bridges, who again is great, but you're willing to move him for Giannis, as you still do have a lot of scoring and you still do have a lot of shooting, as you can then start a lineup of Jalen Brunson, Deuce McBride, OG Anunoby, Giannis, and Karl-Anthony Towns, and that is as well-rounded of a lineup as you're going to find in the NBA. You have a point-of-attack defender in Deuce. You have Giannis, who's an elite defender with a defensive player of the year award to his name. You have OG Anunoby, who's one of the best defenders in basketball, who's also a great shooter. You have Deuce, who's a great shooter. You have Jalen Brunson, who's one of the best scorers in the league. You have Karl-Anthony Towns, who's one of the best scorers in the league and the best shooting big man in the league. You have Giannis, who's one of the best scorers in the league, and all these guys can play more on or off the ball depending on what works, but Giannis instantly becomes the best player on this team, and that makes the best big three in basketball by a country mile with Brunson, Giannis, and Towns. You get to run a double big unit with Giannis and Towns. It's very, very complimentary of each other. Towns gets to hang out on the perimeter more, which he likes to do. Jalen Brunson won't have to have the ball in his hands 24/7, which is good for him. The Knicks bench, you do have to consider some issues there. Leon Rose would be severely, severely weakening Mike Brown's bench, because what we'd be looking at in this situation is a bench unit that's got Jordan Clarkson, Gershon Yabusele. You have AJ Green's going to be there. You do have Ariel Hukporti, who would come into play a lot more than you would need his services, and you might also look at James Nagy on that two-way contract for a little bit, or even for that full rookie scale deal, if you do make this move to add more center depth onto your team, because you are severely limiting things. But also, I do imagine at that point, Giannis would start playing some center with the Knicks as well, is my guess. So I think you would also have to take that into consideration. But you'd have off your bench, you'd have this unit of Clarkson and Yabusele, and just, I mean, it's not, they're both solid bench players. It's why we brought them on, but it's not the world's greatest bench by any means at all, and it is something to sort of consider when we look at this whole situation. I mean, you consider what the bench unit would sort of look like, and, I mean, you'd probably bring back Landry Shamet. That would be a huge addition. And you still have that veteran's minimum contract to give out. So then do you sign Ben Simmons for the size? Do you not sign Ben Simmons because him and Giannis would fit horribly together? Who do you sign in that situation? Because if you have Clarkson, Yabusele, and Shamet, you could use a bigger guy onto that team as well. The problem is the best player is a bigger guy, can't shoot a ball and won't shoot a ball, so you have to consider that as well. So the Knicks would have to figure out that bench unit, and also you'd still only have 13 players on the roster, so that's the other situation. You do free up $900K in the proposed trade that I showed. In this deal, you do free up $900,000, but that's not really going to change a whole lot. You don't get another veterans minimum contract from that. You can maybe get another rookie scale deal out of it or something like that, but then maybe you sign Beauchamp or Kevin McCullough Jr. to a full rookie deal. If you can sign one of them off the two-way for under that money, you do something like that. Because you can't have 13 players in the season for longer than 2 straight weeks. You have to bring someone else in, or you just have to. It's just the rule. So it would make things pretty difficult for the Knicks. They would have to figure out a lot if they did it. They did something similar with when they acquired Karl-Anthony Towns, though, so it's not that it can't be done. The Knicks can figure out ways. The Knicks are very good at finding loopholes, but it does become difficult. And also, you still do lose players who are valuable to this team. Josh Hart, over the past 3 years, has averaged 12.2 points, 9 rebounds, and 4 assists in 42 playoff games with the team. He shot around 36% throughout that span, too. 2 straight years recently now, or the last 2 seasons, shooting 37% from 3 as well. So he's shown good shooting numbers in the playoffs as compared to the regular season. And then also, you do lose out on Mitchell Robinson, who's been a staple of this Knicks team and has really been a glue guy and has just been everything you could hope for. I mean, he's put up in the playoffs over the last 3 years, averaging around 7.5, 8 rebounds, 5 points, and a block per game. And he's just been excellent. I mean, he's one of the best offensive rebounders in basketball. In 2023, the man averaged 5 offensive rebounds per game. He averaged 3.8 in 2024, and in 2025 averaged 3.7. So you do lose out on Mitchell Robinson. Obviously, the injury concern is a situation there, but still, you do that. You give all the draft picks possible. It would be a tough decision that the Knicks would have to make, but also it feels like it'd be worth it if you can get Giannis. I would obviously do it because then you are no longer trying to figure out how do we pay both Mikal and Mitchell Robinson, and we are going to do a video on that upcoming very soon. We do have a ton of videos coming out, guys. So, guys, make sure to subscribe, like the video, turn on post notifications. If you're interested in becoming a channel member, there's a bunch of cool benefits there. Check it out. If you don't want to, subscribing is completely free. Have a great day, guys. Go Knicks.